This is your tutorial video for Snow Goose. In the extra credit assignment, you basically have three options. You can play the right-hand part, so the treble clef line all the way through on its own. You can play the bass clef part, the left-hand part, all the way through on its own. Or for even more points, you can do everything together, so playing both the right hand and the left hand at the same time. Now, before we get into how exactly to get the coordination to happen, let's cover a few of the notation symbols here in this piece. Some of them are familiar from Baby Duck, others of them are new. So one big change from Baby Duck is that now we have different notes to grapple with. Baby Duck was just a tapping and or clapping and tying exercise with just single notes repeated in both parts. Here we have different pitches to read. So this, of course, is a middle C. That's the D above it, that's the E above that. In the bass clef, there's a C, there's a D. So you do need to practice reading your pitches in treble and bass clefs. So beyond that, we also have some returning dynamic markings and some new dynamic markings. So you might remember MF, meaning moderately loud. P still means soft. MP, which we see at the beginning and at the beginning of the second line, means moderately soft. In addition to that, in terms of dynamics, we see these kind of longer sideways looking V's. It's not an accent like we had in Baby Duck. When they're stretched out to this length or greater, they're decrescendo markings. So that means from this note to the next note, you are getting softer. From this note to that note, you're getting softer. Now, there's a limited amount of getting softer we can do on the piano keyboard when we're just playing two notes. But the upshot is this note should be louder than that note. This note should be louder than that note. Next, we see a bunch of numbers. So now that we have different pitches to be played, we're playing them with different fingers of our right hand, which is what these numbers on top signify, and with different fingers of our left hand, which is the set of numbers below the bass clef. So that means you'll think, okay, middle C, and it's played with my right hand thumb. The D above that, played with my right hand second finger. So right hand is always up here, left hand is always down here. That means, oh, well, that's the C below middle C, played with my third finger, or my middle finger of my left hand, the D above that with the index finger, and so on. One other thing to mention is all of these curvy lines that are connecting a bunch of notes. So this giant curved line there, that giant curved line there, these are not ties. Ties is something that we cover in the textbook. Ties only occur when you have the same pitch connected to the same pitch. Here we've got a bunch of different pitches underneath this giant slur marking. So what does it actually mean? It just means that you play all of them smoothly or all of them connected. So as opposed to just short and separated, you want to kind of join all of them together. And I'll show you what that sounds like in just a moment. Other than that, you're in 3/4 time. You can practice clapping and counting, conducting and tying to make sure you have the timing down. And yeah, let's go for it. I'm going to play for you now the whole piece so you can see what we're up against this week. And then in the next video, I'll film top down on the piano keyboard so you can see what my fingers are doing. So here's Snow Goose from the beginning. Now, one thing I will mention here is, especially when you're going from measure 8 to measure 9, it looks a little bit counterintuitive in terms of the fingering, right? Like, why is second finger playing that E, but then third finger is playing the D below it? Are those somehow backwards? Well, no. What happens is when you have gaps between slurs in piano music, oftentimes that means that you'll just simply lift your hand from one position to the next. So what I did here was I played that note at the end of measure 8, but then I quickly got myself in position for this next slurred set of notes. And in terms of fingering, there are a couple of position shifts in the left hand, a couple of stretches here and there, and you'll see those in the next video.